This story started when an arrow was shot, towards a white wolf who jumped towards a scared man. It fell when the arrow hit its backside. The arrow was released by a black-haired young man standing at the edge of the cliff. The people below the cliff continued to fight the wolves, using different weapons such as spears and daggers. The last wolf was stabbed at the neck. The archer jumped down from the cliff, and a man thanked him for covering him earlier. The guy he saved was considered a young master, and that young master commented that the archer was worth every coin. The guy who uses a spear answered that it wasn't just wasted. Instead, they hit a jackpot. The archer named Luo Tian was praised for his performance, since it was on par with a level 1 ability user specializing in archery. Tian responded to Captain Gao, the spear user, and young Master Yu that they'll need to stay alert moving forward. He informed them that those gray wolves were supposed to only be active in the Black Wind Gorge ahead, but now they appeared there. He could tell something was off. Captain Gao instructed Husan to scout ahead since he's fast. He instructed him to report back immediately if anything happens. San left and moved so fast with his ability called Extreme Speed. Young Master Yu told Tian not to worry since he just saw them fight, and Captain Gao was a peak level 1 ability user, and the team members were strong too. He was confident that normal dangers wouldn't be a problem to them, and they're already used to it. Their era has strange invasions. Spatial rifts have appeared all over the world. Within these rifts, danger lurks everywhere. But they also contain endless treasures. The main protagonist is named Luo Tian, and he's not an ability user, he's a guide for navigating those rifts. Young Master Yu brought up what he heard that 3 days ago. A red giant wielding a battle axe appeared in the Blackstone Rift. Whether beast or ability user, it kills on sight, brutal and terrifying. This rich kid named Wang Yu was Tian's employer. Tian insinuated that the rumor could be true. He could tell that its strength would be above level 2. He hoped that they wouldn't run into it. Young Master Yu stated that it was 2.5 meters tall, and no one even knows if it's human or monster, and honestly, he would kind of want to see it for himself. Captain Gao heard him and reminded him not to stir up trouble. He advised him to focus on finding the Wind Spirit Pearl. The young master was reminded of their goal, to find the Wind Spirit Pearl, and give it as a present to Miss Ming. Tian wondered if Miss Ming was that beautiful for the young master to risk his life like that. It made young Master Yu blushed and responded that it was obvious that Tian hadn't seen her in person. Their conversation was cut off when everyone got into position. They could sense something was up. Captain Gao told them to stay alert. They slowly walked forward. Blood stains were everywhere. Young Master Yu was mad that San didn't send any warning. Tian replied that no warning means even greater danger. Captain Gao instructed them to maintain the formation and advance with caution. When they turned on the corner, they saw the bloodied corpses scattered. Captain Gao and Tian inspected the bodies. It looked like an adventurer team went ahead of them, and they were all slaughtered. And Tian could tell by their wounds and their distribution that they were likely killed almost simultaneously, which leads him to suspect an extremely fast monster. They heard a loud sound, and they saw the culprit having its snack. It was a mutated beast called a ghost-headed demon leopard. It was a peak level 1 monster, and on its feet, they saw San's body. It moved so fast that even a peak level 1 monster shouldn't be capable of. It led them to think that it mutated again and had reached at least level 2 initial stage. Which wasn't good. In a blink of an eye, it grabbed a man, and then it faced the front lines. It charged towards Tian. Young Master Yu rushed to his side and told him that he would hold it off while he shot its eyes. Young Master Yu used his ability called Ape Demon Strength to parry the attack. Tian had 3 arrows on his bow and targeted its eyes. An arrow stabbed its left eye. It moved aggressively and blasted them away. After that, it charged towards them. Captain Gao rushed towards them and blocked its claw using his spear. One of their men trembled in fear. He claimed that a level 2 beast was beyond anything people like them could handle. He didn't want to die. Captain Gao told them the situation wasn't good. It was because the beast could use sound wave attacks too. It unleashed a whirlwind, and all of them got caught in it, and they were all thrown on the ground. Tian supported himself to get up. He was the only conscious person left. And right now, the beast was already standing in front of him, ready to pounce any second. He got triggered, and so he judged that this monster truly deserved to die. The beast jumped towards him. At the same time, he was called an ominous power. Black lightning had struck the ground, which alerted the beast. Suddenly, an axe was falling from the sky. A powerful force hits the ground, breaking the rocks apart. Flames shoot up as everything starts to crack. Tian stands in the smoke, reaching forward as heat and sparks rise around him. He grabbed the axe, and with that in hand, he assumed a combat stance. He rushed forward and slashed the ghost-headed demon leopard, and then he jumped while gripping the axe tightly. He swung it with such full power that it made the beast crash to the ground. The beast was in pain. It got angry and stood up. But he approached it again while commenting that a beast was nothing but a beast. Then he punched it. The beast expected him to use the same move twice, so when his fist landed on its face, it bled badly. And then it crashed and rolled on the ground. Tian watched it, and when it was getting up again, he told it to die. It ran fast to escape him. But in a flash, Tian was able to close their gap, and then he raised his axe. He swung it with all his might that the ground was split in half. Nothing but ash was left from the beast. After that, he let go of his axe, and it vanished. He commented that the sensation of mastering power was intoxicating. Unfortunately, the battle axe holds a violent energy, and it can't stay transformed for long. Otherwise, he'll become more than a mindless killing machine. Our boy was also back to his true self now, even his physique. He saw his employer and the rest were seriously injured. This could pose a problem. He rummaged through their bag and saw a mid-grade healing potion. That just shows what a rich bastard young Master Yu was. With something that good, it would be hard to die even if they tried. He made the young Master Yu drink it. Suddenly, he saw something going down the cliff. He stood up when he saw the man. This man recognized him. He is a patrol officer of Black Rock City, Jianbiao. He asked the officer if there was a problem. The officer explained that he was patrolling nearby and sensed a surge of energy. He asked if it was the mysterious giant wielding the axe. He replied yes, and narrated that their squad was attacked by a mutated beast and was nearly wiped out. He lied that it was thanks to the giant that appeared and killed the beast. The officer had doubted that it really disappeared. He threatened Tian to hand over the blood axe, and he'll be spared. Tian chose to play dumb. The officer knew that he was the giant with the blood axe. He was also aware that Tian was the son of the Black Rock's former chief of patrol, Luo Feng. The world they live in contains rifts. Outside of them, people live normal lives, but from within the rifts, monstrous things often emerge, bringing calamity. Every city forms patrol units made up of able users. They guard and investigate the rifts surrounding their cities. Tian's father, Luo Feng, was the previous chief patrol officer of Black Rock City. He was also a powerful ability user. 3 years ago, he vanished during a patrol and never returned. And he made Tian promise to keep the axe a secret. If the officer hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have never believed it. He commented that the former patrol chief truly loved his son, and that he even gave him a treasure like the blood axe before he vanished. But he thinks that it was great for him since it means that the treasure belongs to him now. He called the kid a fool for flaunting something like the blood axe. It was like he's just asking for more trouble. He demanded to know where he was hiding it. He threatened to kill him if he didn't reveal it, since he wants the blood axe. Tian decided to give it to him just like he asked. Tian took out the blood axe again. He positioned himself to jump. Then he struck the officer. Biao is blasted backward, crashing into the wall. Despite experiencing that, he was happy to confirm his thoughts. He didn't expect that an ordinary person without awakened abilities would have such power. Tian told him that since he already knew the secret, he could take it with him to the grave. Biao steps hard on the ground. He told him not to get cocky just because he managed to kill a newly mutated, ghost-headed demon leopard. He activated his ability from the second awakening, Iron Body. He was still showing off his ability when Tian already attacked. He blocked Tian's axe using his arm, and that caught Tian by surprise. He taunted him to attack more. And so Tian did, and he kept blocking it. Tian tried different angles to attack. He charges forward with a clenched fist, while Biao is flung back in the distance. He screamed from pain. It was because of the murderous aura from the blood axe, and he's reaching his limit. Biao's Iron Boy was sturdy and enduring. He could tell that the strength graded by the blood axe finally reached its limit. Tian knew he must end the transformation immediately, or else he'll lose control and become a mindless killing machine. He had no choice but to use last resort. He took out a vial and drank it. Biao saw that he had truly gone mad. He drank a winter elixir that could totally freeze his soul, and there would be no salvation for him. Tian reached out his hand and grabbed the blood axe once again. He unleashed an attack called Extreme Blood Blade Slash. Biao looked scared, but he braced himself. A fiery strike slams into the ground, blasting flames straight up into the air. After unleashing that attack, Tian was exhausted. When Biao received a direct hit, his ability was disabled. He couldn't believe that he lost, especially to a regular person when he's a Tier 2 beginner-level ability user. Tian told him to go die now and took his sword. He told him that he can't kill him since he's still useful. He revealed that their Captain Ross was also investigating the treasure, and Tian would have been no match for him. He bargained that if he spared him, he could tip him off and help escape his pursuit. Tian ignited that and simply replied that he talks a lot. Deep inside, he didn't expect Ross to be there too. He's a Tier 2 high-level ability user considered a powerhouse even in Blackrock City. Now things just got more complicated. After the strange invasion, only awakened ability users could stand against the monsters. Wang Yu had his first awakening at intermediate level, while Captain Gao Yuan was at first awakening at the peak level, and Jiang Biao was at the second awakening, beginner level. After the first awakening, power progresses through beginner, intermediate, high, and peak levels. Beyond that was the second awakening, and even the third. But Tian's situation was unique. He never awakened any ability. All his power came from the mysterious blood axe. Confined by his ordinary human body, the strength he could draw from the blood axe was only equivalent to a Tier 2 beginner-level ability user. He wanted to grow stronger to search for his missing father. His only path was to become an ability user. He tried to awaken his power many times, but the blood axe's energy disrupts the process each time. He gets the feeling that it's because the ability stones he found so far were too weak, unworthy of the blood axe's recognition. He became quite a guide to use the power of other ability users and search the rift for higher-tier ability stones, now that the blood axe giant has appeared. Not just Biao, Ross would suspect him too. Even if he returns to Blackrock City, he knew he wouldn't be able to escape his pursuit. The Wind Spirit Pearl was a kind of ability stone, and a very high-level one at that. It's the only solution he could think of at the moment. His body was so close to collapse, so he needed to find a hidden spot to recover, and then he'll go search for the Wind Spirit Pearl. The scent left by the ghost-headed demon, Leopard won't fade anytime soon, and other monsters won't dare to come close in the meantime, so the area was safe. He left those unconscious men without a word. The rule of the wilderness to survive was never to light a fire at night. It draws the eyes lurking in the dark. But Tian had no other choice. He set up a campfire. Using the icy power of the winter elixir to suppress the violent aura from the blood axe was technically a shortcut, and yet, even the residual effects of the elixir almost froze his body into pieces. A spider beast lurked near him when he was meditating. It slowly approached him. Without moving much, he attacked it. The beast's corpse was left hanging on the wall because of his arrow. Morning came and he was ready to go. According to intel, 3 days ago, someone spotted the Wind Spirit Pearl near Wind Thunder Cliff. He already lost too much time, so he hurried because someone could snatch it at any moment. By the time he left the cave, there were several corpses of beasts scattered that had been hit by his arrows. After a while, he reached the Darkshade Forest. There were beasts called Shadow of Mantis there at the peak of the first tier. Tian was hiding behind a tree and watched them from a distance. He finds the forest really strange because even the outskirts have monsters like that. He felt that it's a shame that he's in a rush. Otherwise, he'd definitely avoid the area. But it's great that he came prepared. He threw burning grass at them. The black smoke started to spread, and in a few seconds, those beasts started running away. While the smoke was still there, Tian made his move too. He kept running, and when he got through the smoke, he checked the area. And there he saw it, a demonic plant, Hellflower, at the early stage of the second tier. He arrived at his destination. Just as he expected, it was the center of the Darkshade Forest. And there really was a cave, which he suspects to be the shortcut to the Wind Thunder Cliff. Only old veterans who spent years wandering Blackstone Rift would know about this path. He only heard about it in passing when his father was chatting with his friends. He sensed a movement, so he moved up to the branch of a tree. And that's when he saw a beast called Fang Beast. It was the peak of the first tier. It stopped running when it saw the Hellflower ahead. But when it turned around, it was already surrounded by the shadow mantises. The beast was in panic, but before it had decided on what to do, a vine had already wrapped around its body, and the Hellflower dragged it towards the center of its flower to eat it. The shadow mantises approached the Hellflower and kneeled before it. Tian realized that the shadow mantises and the Hellflower were working together. It was like the shadow mantises were helping the Hellflower hunt. He knew that charging head-on would be risky. He decided to wait for the right moment. Nighttime came, and the Hellflower's petals moved. The flower closes, while the shadow mantises settle in front of it. Tian deemed that it was the right time. He ran fast, but a shadow mantis suddenly showed up in his path. He unleashed 3 arrows simultaneously, and he hit that on the head. He realized that there was no way to avoid a fight. The other shadow mantis and the hellflower woke up, and that made him decide to fight. He pulled out the blood axe and started transforming again. In a flash, he charged and slashed those shadow mantises. While the axe was swung around, he used his other hand to grab the shadow mantises, and then he threw it at the hellflower. Several vines attacked simultaneously, and Tien skillfully cut it. Tien swings his axe, sending red slashes tearing through everything in his path. He charges forward, swinging his axe as red slashes cut through the monsters around him. It was such a pain in the ass for him when every single one of those brutes were fearless. He had to kill them all at once to create a defensive opening. It was his only chance. A massive red slash spins like a storm, tearing monsters apart as it rips through the battlefield. He broke through and was almost at the cave entrance, but the vines of the hellflower chased after him. He parried the attack using his axe and was pushed backwards. It sent him inside the cave. He had to get out of there quickly because even if the hellflower couldn't get in, those shadow mantises were also a huge threat. He ran deeper in the cave. Since it was dark, he took out his flashlight. He could see the exit. When he got out, he saw the Wind Thunder cliff across. It looked terrifying. It was tall and had a stormy atmosphere, and several lightning struck it. Suddenly, he sensed something dangerous coming towards him. He blocked the attack using his axe. He was pushed backwards. He asked who was there. This person had just confirmed that Tien has the blood axe. He was surprised to see that it was Patrol Captain Ross. Ross was glad that it wasn't a waste waiting for him for almost the whole day. He knew Biao died by his hand. Tien was aware that if he fought him, he'd die, so he had to escape quickly. He asked Ross how he knew how to find him. Seeing that he was willing to risk exposing the blood axe to venture the rift, he could tell that Tien really wanted the Wind Spirit Pearl. And he deduced that for someone short on time like him, there was no other choice but taking the shortcut. He told Tien that for the sake of the old patrol chief, if Tien gave him the blood axe, he would spare him. Tien replied that if he wants, he should come and get it. Since he's looking at death, Ross was happy to grant his wish. Tien noticed his incredible speed. He got struck and was blasted away towards the wall. He couldn't block the attacks at all. Ross was impressed with the blood axe, since it allows ordinary people like him to possess power comparable to a beginner Tier 2 user. He deemed to give him a quicker death. He used his scorching flame ability. He emits such terrifying heat. He had to find a way out of it fast, or he's really going to die. The clash caused a huge explosion. Tien lets out a sharp breath, cold mist and ice forming around his mouth. His whole body was engulfed in fire, but he was still standing. Ross expects him to scream in the agony of burning flames. Once Tien burned to ashes, the blood axe would naturally be his. But, unexpectedly, Tien released a powerful strike. The power was estimated to be at high rank, Tier 2. He couldn't fathom how that happened. He realized Tien took 2 winter elixirs at the same time. It was far beyond the limits of what a body could endure. Tien let out another strike. Ross swiftly dodges Tien's red slashes, then mocks him for having power, but not knowing how to use it. He counterattacked with his fire. Beams of fire rained down on Tien, but Ross didn't expect him to jump off the cliff. He couldn't do anything else but curse. He vowed to find him dead or alive. Meanwhile, our MC throws the weapon into the wall and uses it to hang midair, then drops down and lands safely on a branch. With that escape, he's safe for now. Earlier, while suppressed by the intense heat of Ross's flames, he took 2 winter elixirs at once. Although his body didn't collapse outright, it still sustained immense damage, so he drank a potion. He wouldn't be able to use the blood axe transformation for a while. Tien was aware that there would be quite a few people trying to get the Wind Spirit Pearl. He hoped these dragons would last for a while longer, that way he might still have a chance. But then a green light streaks across the sky as Tien watches, sensing someone approaching. The woman stopped before Ross and told him that she didn't expect him to be there. Tien couldn't believe that she's flying. It led him to think that she's a legendary powerhouse above Tier 7, but he considered it wrong since the Black Rock Rift was just a low-level rift. It's difficult even for Tier 3 ability users to enter, let alone Tier 7. Ross argued that even her, Miss Ming, was tempted by a treasure like the Wind Spirit Pearl, so he knew there was nothing strange about him being there. She warned him that once the storm subsides, they would rely on each of their own abilities. Tian heard them, and he suspects that she's Miss Ming that Wang Yu mentioned. Her aura was truly remarkable, but it was a shame that she's too far away for him to see her face clearly. Since she desperately wanted the spirit wind pearl, it made him conclude that she has a wind-type ability, and it was possible to achieve temporary flight using her ability. He watched her fly, and he couldn't help but feel amazed and jealous. When he stood up, he saw a light shining from a distance. But it was gone in an instant, so he dismissed it as a mistake. Suddenly, the light appeared again. He got curious, so he decided to take a look. He released an arrow to lodge on the other side, and glides down through the help of the rope attached to it. It led him to an entrance of a cave, so he dropped inside it. He was happy to see a thunder element stone in there. Thunder element stones weren't considered precious, but they still require a place where lightning converges to form. Up on Wind Thunder Cliff, there were hurricanes and lightning. He originally thought the lightning was just a byproduct of the hurricane, but now he knew that it wasn't that simple. Out of the blue, he was struck with lightning. Fortunately, he was quick on his feet and evaded it. He saw the thunder lizard beast that attacked him. It moved fast and approached him. He unleashed his arrows when it tried to attack him again. When the arrow hit its body, he saw that it had an electric arc defense on its body. Although its level hasn't evolved to Tier 2, it's much more difficult to handle than a typical peak tier monster. He ducked when it attacked again, making it hit the wall. In terms of strength and speed, he's no match for it. Plus, it had a lightning attack. He had to find a solution quickly, because if it drags on, he would surely die. He remembered its weak spot, the abdomen, especially in the gaps of the joints connecting its limbs to its body. Even with its electric arc defense, as long as an arrow hits that spot, it would be enough to severely injure it. When the thunder lizard leapt, Tian saw his chance. He targeted it and unleashed its arrow towards it. When it was in pain from being hit with 2 arrows, he created a distance between them. Now that its movement had been restricted, it was time for him to counterattack. He saw the stalactite over it, so he positioned himself to hit it. Arrows pierced through the rock, making it fall on the thunder lizard. Once it was pinned down, he approached it and stabbed its head. Finally, the beast was dead. If he hadn't exploited its weakness and the terrain, he would probably be the one who's dead. Behind him, a crystal emitted lightning. It became stronger. He noticed how the lightning was striking more and more frequently. He saw an exit up ahead. He went to it, but found himself standing at the bottom of a massive pit, staring up as strange energy swirls above him. Tian looks down as a green glow swirls at the bottom of the pit, pulling the air around it. At the center of it was the Wind Spirit Pearl. The treasure was suspended mid-air surrounded by a storm, so it would be very difficult to retrieve it. Cracks spread along the rock as green light pulses below, sending sparks of energy into the air. He was overwhelmed at what he saw. It was a thunder pool. He realized that the storms and lightning on Wind Thunder Cliff were just external phenomena, and the true source was that thunder pool. 6 hours later, the Wind Spirit Pearl absorbed the first rays of sunlight and actually produced a purple spiritual aura. Suddenly, the thunder pool created a massive splash of water when a creature emerged from it. It was a flood dragon, and it devoured the first wisp of the spiritual aura from the rising sun. It left behind the Wind Spirit Pearl before slipping back into the thunder pool. Tian could only deduce that the Wind Spirit Pearl was intentionally cultivated by the flood dragon to help it gather spiritual aura. Judging by its aura, it was equivalent to a Tier 3 monster. Tian assumed that it was a young flood dragon that was born recently. Even so, he's no match for it, so he was glad that he didn't act rashly earlier. Fortunately, he was hidden. Once the storm weakens, those ability users from outside would rush in. He planned to let them deal with the flood dragon. He just needed to hide and strike at the critical moment to snatch the Wind Spirit Pearl. Miss Ming called everyone's attention and told them that storms and lightning converge there. It was a mystical place that should nurture many treasures. She only wanted the Wind Spirit Pearl, so she requested them not to interfere. Ross answered that even if she has a powerful background, and she even came all the way to the Black Rock Rift just for the Wind Spirit Pearl, still it was something that everyone wants, so they just have to rely on their own skills. The other people agreed that each to their own, and she accepted that, and hoped that Ross would remain that defiant. It made Ross annoyed that she's just clearly a high-rank Tier 2 ability user, and yet her aura was terrifying. He knew that he was no match for her. She cuts through the tornado. Everyone was shocked that she entered inside. Since the treasure was just right in front of them, everyone followed. Those who entered the storm got overwhelmed. They were welcomed with several thunder lizards at the bottom, and the wind spirit pearl was at the top of the thunder cliff. Ross told Miss Ming that to be able to get up there, the threat from the pack of thunder lizard beasts was significant. He suggested that since all 5 of them were high-rank Tier 2, it would be better to split into 5 teams to encircle and destroy the thunder lizard beast pack. The others agreed with his proposal. Miss Ming simply told them to do as they please. She charges ahead. As she approaches those thunder lizards, she evades their lightning attacks. Then, she cuts several thunder lightning all at once. Then the others split into 4 groups. One group burned those thunder lizards to death, while the other group used their own unique weapons and skills. Captain Gao was caught off guard from behind. He deflected its attack using his spear, and reminded young Master Yu to be careful. He helped him take down one of those thunder lizards. He realized that the power of those thunder lizards was even more fearsome than an ordinary peak Tier 1 monster, so he advised young Master Yu to be extremely careful. Given that they just entered and they were already facing such powerful monsters, young Master Yu was afraid that it would be more dangerous ahead. He regretted taking Captain Gao with him. Captain Gao simply replied that he was determined to see it through to the end ever since he accepted the mission. They were surrounded. Fortunately, Miss Ming cuts down those thunder lizards. She recognized Wang Yu and asked him who told him to come there. Yu replied that he came to help her get the wind spirit pearl. She turned her back on him and told him to go back, since it wasn't a place for him. That left him stunned. Master Yu finally realized the gap between his world and the girl he wanted. Later on, the monsters had finally been wiped out. They were glad to have won. While they were rejoicing, blue lightning orbs formed in the sky. Explosions hit the ground, showing that more monsters are coming. It was such a terrifying attack. When smoke covered everything, they wondered what monster had attacked them. When they finally had a vision, they knew they were in trouble. It was a Thunder Lizard Beast King. The Thunder Lizard Beast King's attack power has reached peak Tier 2, so they had to join forces to deal with it. Everyone agreed. They asked what Miss Ming thinks. She replied that there was no need. She approached the Thunder Lizard Beast King. Miss Ming raises her blade as green energy coils around her, her gaze sharp and focused. Then, she unleashed the Blade of Wind, instantly killing the Thunder Lizard Beast King. After that, Miss Ming drops to one knee, gripping her sword as she steadies herself, clearly exhausted but still standing. Those who watched her were left shocked that the terrifying Beast King was killed just like that. Captain Ross could tell that the attack was a power of a Tier 3. They all realized that the fight for the Wind Spirit Pearl won't be easy. They reached the top of the cliff and saw a large pit at the center. Tien sensed that they had finally arrived. Tien planned to use these ability users to fight the Thunderflood Dragon first. He hid in the shadows and waited for the right opportunity to act. He peeked through the crease and saw Miss Ming. She didn't expect to see the Wind Spirit Pearl that soon, but she could immediately tell that something was wrong, so she stepped back. The Wind Spirit Pearl gathers wind to conceal itself, so it should be difficult to find. She wondered why it was just floating there in plain sight. Those ability users raced to grab it. As soon as they approached it, they were electrocuted. The lightning came from the thunder pool. Once they were toasted, they started falling. Captain Ross called everyone's attention and told them that the monster under the pool was extremely powerful. If they wanted to take the Wind Spirit Pearl, they had to work together. One of the muscular guys with him expressed that he would be blunt. He instructed that no one would take the Wind Spirit Pearl unless the monster at the bottom of the pool had been dealt with. Anyone who tries would be killed without mercy. He warned Miss Ming that she can't act on her own this time. Miss Ming agreed to it. More ability users drop into the pit, landing hard as one man watches closely from the side. The monster was hiding underwater, so they wondered how to deal with it. The muscular guy told them that since the beast cares so much about the Wind Spirit Pearl, they could have someone pretend to take it, and as long as they block its surprise attack, it would be forced to reveal itself. He pointed at someone to go get the pearl. The poor man was scared. He told Captain Ross that his power was too low, so he couldn't get it. The man begged Captain Ross. Since the man won't go, Captain Ross just killed him. Tien saw it and he was taken aback. He realized that Captain Ross was ruthless. Then, Captain Ross pointed at someone else. The man was forced to go. Deep inside, he's cursing him. He jumped towards the pearl, and the lightning from the pool struck. Captain Ross saw it as the perfect chance. He deflected the lightning using his flames. The man was glad because he got the pearl. But to his surprise, he was about to be eaten. Everyone was surprised when they saw that the monster was a flood dragon. It went on a rampage. It hit them with its tail. Captain Ross knew the situation was bad since the beast's power had reached Tier 3. The muscular guy didn't care about it and told him that if he wanted the treasure, he had to kill it. They saw that it was trying to retreat back to the pool. They couldn't let it back into the water, so Captain Ross set the water on fire. The flood dragon got hurt, and it jumped out of the water. Its tail hit the walls. The muscular guy instructed them to save the guy, because if the beast picked them off one by one, they would all die. They hit it simultaneously. The muscular guy blocked its attack to save Captain Ross from being squashed. Then he asked him if he's all right. Captain Ross joked that he's not dead yet. Miss Ming called everyone's attention. She announced that the Wind Spirit Pearl has been swallowed by the Thunder Flood Dragon, and she's determined to kill it and retrieve the treasure. She asked if anyone dares to join her. Tension fills the air. The Flood Dragon unleashes a powerful lightning attack, and Miss Ming countered it with the Blade of Wind. Void Breaker. It caused a loud explosion in the air. Miss Ming drives her sword into the ground to stop herself from being pushed back. Everyone was overwhelmed that a terrifying attack from the Thunder Flood Dragon was blocked. The muscular guy realized that the beast wasn't that invincible after all, so he expressed to join Miss Ming. Captain Ross joined too. He had come so far and didn't want to leave empty-handed. Everyone else has joined. Miss Ming admits that her strength alone wasn't enough to fight it since the Thunder Flood Dragon has reached the 3rd level intermediate stage. She took out a 3rd level treasure, the adamantine silk net. She instructed them to work together to trap it with the net, and then she'll move in for the kill. The Thunder Flood Dragon noticed that they spread the net on top of the water. It tried to escape upwards, but Miss Ming wouldn't let it do what it wanted. She chased after it. Tian was watching through the crease, and she noticed him. It looked like their eyes met. Tian immediately hid. Miss Ming focused back on the dragon. She easily overtook it and stopped it from flying upwards. It unleashed a purple lightning towards her. Meanwhile, she took out something from her pocket. It was a wind crystal stone. She shattered it, and bursts of energy surrounded her. She released an attack called Stormfall. It was a powerful beam that pierced through the incoming purple thunder, and it went straight to the Thunder Flood Dragon. It slams into the head of a Thunder Flood Dragon, injuring it, making it fall to the net. The ability users pulled the net. They rejoiced since they now caught it. But they were reminded not to let their guard down. They were instructed not to give the beast a chance to escape. Miss Ming landed on top of it. She got into position to end the Thunder Flood Dragon. She used the technique Blade of Wind, Spirit Pierce. The Thunder Flood Dragon groaned in pain. It tried to counter the attack with lightning while it was falling to the water. A burst of water shoots up to the sky. Several men got affected by the impact and hit the walls. It finally fell to the water and became still along with several corpses around it. Miss Ming coughed blood. She approached it, and it suddenly opened its eyes, and then it spat out the Wind Spirit Pearl. She chased after it, but she was attacked by Captain Ross. He also wanted that treasure for himself. She warned him that he's courting death. He was an inch away from the pearl when she shoved him backwards. Suddenly, Miss Ming vomited blood. And even though she was so close to the pearl, she wasn't able to grab it as she lost all her strength and fell. Tian found this the perfect opportunity. He broke the walls where he was hidden and jumped from there. The Wind Spirit Pearl was almost at his hands. Tian got the Wind Spirit Pearl, and he lodged the axe at the wall to prevent himself from falling. Now that he had taken it, he knew that he would become a target for everyone, so he had to get out of there quickly. He got out of the pit. When he saw the corpses of the Thunder Lizards, he couldn't help but imagine how brutal the battle was. He was lucky to have discovered a secret passage. Otherwise, not only could he forget about the pill, he could have lost his life instead. He crossed to the other side and jumped from one branch to the other. The Blood Axe's transformation was almost at its limit. Later on, he reached a safe place and undid the transformation. It was time to have a good look at the Wind Spirit Pearl. He was happy to have that divine treasure. As long as he used it as an awakening stone, he's certain that he'll be able to awaken an ability this time. But he knew he shouldn't rush it. He decided to wait until he found a completely safe and hidden place to start the awakening ceremony. The secret of the Blood Axe's transformation was only known by Ross, and he was just killed by Miss Ming. In other words, as long as he doesn't transform, no one would know that he's the one who took the Wind Spirit Pearl. Out of the blue, he was startled. Miss Ming appeared in front of him, But the instant their eyes met, she coughed blood and could barely support herself. In her weak state, she tried to tell him that she wasn't trying to steal the Wind Spirit Pearl. Instead, she wanted to make a trade with him. She wanted to trade a monster core from the Thunder Flood Dragon for the Wind Spirit Pearl. Its value was far greater than the Wind Spirit Pearl. There's no ability power fluctuation on him, so she asked if he's trying to awaken an ability with the Wind Spirit Pearl. She urged him to believe her that the monster core was far more effective for awakening an ability than the Wind Spirit Pearl. He was speechless. He knew that she wasn't lying because even the Blood Axe was craving for the monster core. He asked how she found him. She explained that her ability is wind type, so as long as the distance wasn't too far, she could sense the location of the Wind Spirit Pearl at any time. With her answer, he had confirmed that the secret of the Blood Axe's transformation hasn't been exposed. He agreed to trade. She thanked him and expressed that the Wind Spirit Pearl was truly important for her. They threw the items at the same time. When she finally had the Wind Spirit Pearl in her hands, she lost consciousness. Tien got worried for her. He checked and saw that she actually passed out. She was frighteningly strong ever since he met her, so he didn't expect that there would be a time like that for her. He realized that she was gravely injured in the previous battle. He wanted to avoid trouble, so he left quickly, but he stopped on his tracks and sighed. He returned and carried her on his back. He told her to consider herself lucky that he couldn't stand to see a beautiful woman in trouble. It was nighttime when they settled in a cave. He was grilling some food when she slowly woke up. The moment she got up, she immediately saw him without his shirt on. She asked why he saved her when he could have taken the Wind Spirit Pearl and all her treasures while she was down. He simply replied that a gentleman seeks wealth in a righteous way. He doesn't do things that take advantage of others. He just joked that he had a kind heart, so he saved her. That made Miss Ming smirk. Then she got up and introduced herself as Ming Lan. He gave his name and they shook hands. Miss Ming revealed that she has a secret technique that could perfectly activate the Thunder Flood Dragon's monster core. She promised to help him once her injuries healed. With the quality of the monster core, it might even awaken a king-tier ability. That was news to him. They sat in front of a bonfire at grilled meat and talked about the different tiers of abilities. Tien knew that based on power, abilities were categorized as lower-tier ability, middle-tier ability, high-tier ability, and king-tier ability. She added that above the king-tier, there's a god-tier ability, but that's just a legend. She had certainly never seen one. Beyond just the difference in power, the most crucial thing about ability tiers is that they determine the level cap an ability user can reach. Tien couldn't believe that since he had never heard something like that before. It was pretty normal that he didn't know since Black Rock City was a remote place. She explained that an ability user who awakens a lower-tier ability would be locked at level 1, unable to break through their life. Middle tier would be at max in level 3, high tier's max is at level 6, king tier's max was at level 9, and for god tier, it was unknown. The strongest person in Black Rock City was only at level 3 peak. That's precisely because he only has a middle tier ability and can't go any higher. In a backwater like Black Rock City, it was practically impossible to awaken a higher tier ability. Not only are the advanced awakening treasures extremely rare, but the real issue was the lack of necessary awakening secret arts. While he was listening to her, he realized that it was a good thing that he saved her. Otherwise, even with the Thunder Flood Dragon monster core, he wouldn't have been able to awaken its ability. He realized that doing good pays off. She told him that she'll use her family's secret art to help him awaken his ability as repayment for saving her life. But he has to keep it a secret. He promised not to breathe a single word of it to anyone. 3 days later, under the night sky, she created a formation called the Moonlight Spirit Initiation Array. Only in the dead of night, using the moonlight as a guide, will it elevate his soul and amplify his senses hundreds of times. And only then he could truly sense the power core within the awakening treasure and absorb and merge with it. She told him to get ready since she's about to start the array. Her eyes and hands lit up. Green runes light up the ground as Miss Ming floats above, unleashing a powerful formation with Tien at its center. The sensations he felt made him feel like he's becoming an immortal. The power surges through the sky. She told Tien not to get distracted. He had to focus on sensing the power inside the Thunderflood Dragon monster core and approach it and merge with it. He concentrated, and found himself at a place where there were countless terrifying bolts of lightning. He realized that he must be inside the Thunderflood Dragon monster core, and the lightning was its core power. He extended his hand, and realized that it wasn't threatening at all. In fact, he felt like he could easily absorb it. He was thrilled that he just got a tiny bit stronger. He realized that it must have been what awakening felt like. He got excited sucking up those lightning that created a tornado around him. The monster core attaches to his forehead and absorbed it. It was already dawn when he opened his eyes. He could feel his body bursting with power. Even his old internal injuries were being completely healed. Miss Ming was happy to see that he's awake. She asked how it went. He reported that everything went smoothly. The lightning felt like his own arm, and he could control it however he wanted. He asked why it was blue when he clearly sensed purple lightning. She told him that it was normal since he just awakened. He wasn't that strong enough to fully wield a king tier ability, so he couldn't display its full power yet. He asked how her injuries were. She answered that it was pretty much healed. Then she asked why. He challenged her to a fight since he wanted to test out his ability's power. It made her chuckle and she accepted. He unleashed lightning towards her direction. She deflected it with just a finger. Then she told him that the power of his lightning wasn't bad. He's already at level 1 peak right after awakening, however, he has 0 technique. He's full of holes, and his power wasn't focused, which means he needs to practice a lot more. He took out the blood axe and challenged her to face the next move. She was caught off guard. Tien raises his axe as lightning crackles around him, his power surging to its peak. She unleashed several wind blades to deflect it. Tien slams his axe down as lightning explodes outward, ripping the ground apart while Miss Ming is thrown back by the blast. She planted her feet on the ground to steady herself. She asked if that was his so-called mysterious transformation. Combined with the lightning power, his attack had doubled in force. She admits that she almost couldn't block it. It was comparable to many level 2 peak ability users. He returned to normal state and told her that it was just luck. She answered that a king tier ability was extremely rare. Maybe only 1 in 10,000 ability users could awaken one. But its power was absolutely undeniable. It could grant the ability user a special skill. Like her king tier ability Wind Mastery granted her flight on the wind. She encouraged him to train hard to grasp his own special skill soon. All this time, he was under the impression that all wind-type users had that skill. That made her laugh. She told him that nothing good comes easy. And then she informed him that it was time for her to go. He awakened a king tier ability and possesses the Blood Axe, a divine weapon which makes his potential immeasurable. She invited him to Star City, where he could truly grow stronger since Black Rock City was just too small. He told her that he would go. With that, she said goodbye, and she flew to the sky. Before she's truly gone, she told him that she'll be waiting for him. It made him excited to go to Star City. After 2 days on the road, Tien was finally at the Rift's exit. He finds it strange that it's completely empty when it was usually packed with ability users going in and out of the Rift. He could tell something was wrong since it was too quiet. He couldn't even hear any birds. Suddenly, someone waiting for him appeared. It was the muscular guy with Ross before. His name is Mo Dongcheng, level 1, high-tier ability user. He admitted that if Tien hadn't showed up, he doesn't know how much longer he would hold out, since sealing the Rift's entrance pisses a lot of people off. Tien was surprised that he was waiting for him specifically when they had never met. Dongcheng told him to stop playing dumb. He expects Tien, the son of the former patrol chief, to know him because he's a big deal in Black Rock City. He told him to hand over the Wind Spirit Pearl, and for his father's sake, he'll spare his life. Tien revealed that he already gave it to Miss Ming. Dongcheng thought he was just being stubborn, so he warned him that after he kills him, he'll possess the Wind Spirit Pearl. He attacked Tien with his middle-tier ability, Adamantine Fist. Tien blocked it using the Blood Axe and immediately counterattacked. Dongcheng admits that he didn't expect him to be that strong, but he's about to end the fight. He vanished. And then he unleashed the Starfall Fist Shadow attack. Since he went that far, Tien warned him not to blame him for what happens next. It was perfect. Dongcheng's death would be the first sacrifice to his newest killing move, the instant Thunder/Annihilate. The fists were struck with lightning and obliterated it. Dongcheng couldn't believe it. An explosion followed the attack. It was such a powerful attack that the impact made the surrounding pillars fall. Dongcheng felt that Tien was someone who just awakened their ability. So, it was a puzzle to him on how he became that powerful. He could tell that the last attack was basically at the peak of level 2. Tian had a grin on his face as he realized that just a few days ago, he was completely helpless against Ross, and now he could easily take down a powerful level 2 high-tier ability user like him. He felt incredible. Tian probed on how he knew who he was. Dongcheng, who was scared of dying, promised him that he would talk. Ross, who was killed by Miss Ming, told him about it before he died. He admits that if he could go back, he would rather not know about Tian's secret. Tian hoped that he's the last one who knew about the blood axe. He wished him to rest in peace and then slashed his neck. After that, he exited the rift. On the other side, some people were waiting. When he got out, the guards were shocked. They asked him how he got out when Dongcheng temporarily sealed the rift entrance. He glared at them and warned them to mind their own business if they want to live. The guards were overwhelmed. They got scared of his eyes, which were full of killing intent. Tian descended the staircase. While doing so, he took out his phone to check it. He had 75 missed calls from Uncle Lin. Suddenly, his phone rang. As soon as he picked it up, Uncle Lin started nagging. He was worried sick since Tian ran off to the rift by himself for over 10 days. It was like he just vanished. He even sent people to look for him, but they couldn't find him, so he was worried that he died there. Tian apologized and explained that there was no signal in the rift. He asked if something had happened. His uncle replied that it was nothing urgent, so he should just head home and see him tomorrow. His trip to Black Rock Rift lasted over 10 days, but fortunately he was able to awaken his ability. Now it was time for him to head home and get some proper sleep. The next day, Tian's alarm clock rang and he smashed it. Later on, at 12:15 in the afternoon, the other alarm rang and he also did the same. Several more alarms around his bed rang simultaneously, making him annoyed. He knew he couldn't sleep in since he had to go see Uncle Lin. He started preparing and left at once since he was running late. An old couple passing by saw him and asked where he had been since they hadn't seen him in ages. He replied that he was on a trip and just got back yesterday. They reminded him to try not to end up like his old man. He simply motioned okay. While he was running on the sidewalk, a taxicab driver offered him a ride. He refused, but the driver offered him a discount. Before the driver could finish his sentence, Tian was already gone. He ran at the speed of light. He doesn't need a cab since he's an ability user now. Using his power was way cheaper. The lightning ability gives him insane speed. He's 10 times faster than before he awakened. He arrived at the Ability User Association, at the president's office. Uncle Lin was glad that he finally showed up. He was worried sick about him. Tian asked him what was so urgent. Uncle Lin had something good for him. It was a top-grade intermediate ability stone, which wasn't easy to get. He wanted Tian to take it and see if it could awaken his ability. Tian told him that there was no need. Uncle Lin took offense and asked if it was because he thought an intermediate ability stone was below him now. Tian clarified that it wasn't that. He also acknowledged how valuable the stone was, and Uncle Lin had given him so many of it over the years, even if they all went to waste. Uncle Lin couldn't understand why he wouldn't take it. He assured him that he could still afford it, plus he's a level 3 ability user and the president of the Ability Association after all. Tian revealed that he already awakened his ability. Uncle Lin was happy for him. He inquired what tier his awakened ability was. He proudly replied that it was a king tier. Uncle Lin was shocked when he heard that. All of a sudden, he attacked Tian. Tian skillfully evaded all his kicks, and when he found the chance, he zapped his leg, making Uncle Lin fall. Tian teased him for making a split all of a sudden. Uncle Lin called him a brat and told him to give him a hand. He admits that a king tier ability was no joke. Tian had just awakened, and he's already at the peak of level 1. He could barely hold him down without using his powers. He knew that if Tian's father knew about it, he would be ecstatic. Since his dad had been brought up, Tian asked where his dad really went. He just vanished back then, and everyone says he's dead, but he refused to believe that it was that simple. Uncle Lin honestly told him that he had no idea if Tian's dad was still alive. Years ago, they were exploring a bizarre rift together when a catastrophe struck. Thousands of ability users inside that rift were wiped out. His dad and him were the only survivors, all thanks to the blood axe that they stumbled upon. The blood axe suppressed Tian, preventing him from awakening. His dad could never accept that, so Uncle Lin suspects that he went back to that rift to find a solution. Tian asked where the rift was. He already expected him to ask. So he gave him a runic magic box and instructed him to drop a drop of his blood on it. Tian did what he was told, and the rune glowed. Uncle Lin had sealed the information about the rift on that box, and he'll only be able to open it when his strength far surpasses his, when he reaches level 4. He warned Tien not to open it early, because if he go through the rift without enough power, it would be a suicide mission. Tien thanked him. Now that he had awakened, he had to formally start learning how to use his powers. He asked Uncle Lin if he had some recommendations. So, he was told to go to Star City Ability Academy, one of the best academies in the South. Both him and Tian's dad studied there. It was a shame that they weren't talented enough, so they were just unofficial students. If Tian manages to get in, he's certain that his dad would be so proud. A few days later, inside the bullet train, Tian was sleeping. The man beside him woke him up to pass. He stood up and let the guy get through, but his eyes saw something that made him stop the man. The man asked what was up. Tian told him that he can't just walk away after stealing something. The man was caught off guard, but he played dumb and even threatened to sue Tian for slander. Tian simply sighed and zapped him with lightning. Then he took out a wallet from his pocket and questioned the man why it was there. The man got mad that an ability user like him was sticking his nose in normal people's business, which wasn't right. Tian couldn't believe him. He's spouting nonsense when he stole his wallet. At the station, Tian handed him to the guards and gave his statement. Someone approached him and commented that he's trying to be a hero. He asked who the man was. The blonde guy in white suit knew his name and introduced himself as Chen Hao. He was sent by Uncle Lin to pick him up. Tian greeted him and thanked him for coming to get him. Deep inside, Tian didn't expect him to be that flashy. Hao replied that it was nothing since he used to be the only official student from Black Rock City who was studying at the Star City Ability Academy. Now that Tian is there, he finally has some company. They rode a sports car and Tian explained that he wasn't being a hero, instead, he was the victim. Hao finds it funny since it was his first time hearing a full-fledged ability user getting pickpocketed by a normal guy. Tian clarified that he just wanted to catch the guy red-handed. He asked Hao what the entrance exam at the Star City Ability Academy covers. He wanted to know how to prepare. Hao told him that he doesn't need one since his king-tier ability was an all-access pass. He added that Tian just had to show up at the testing center, and the admissions staff would be falling all over themselves to kiss his ass. At the academy, Hao's car was blocked. Hao got mad. The guard informed him that after he crashed into the barricade last time, the student council penalized him and banned him from driving on campus. He argued that it was an accident. He also suspects that the culprit was that bitch, Ming Lan. The guard was amused that he cursed the student council's disciplinary head and warned him that he's recording it. Hao alighted his car and admitted that he was wrong. While he was apologizing, he offered a carton of huazi to the officer, and the officer took that as bribery, making the situation worse. They continued by foot, and Tian took it as a chance to ask his problem with Ming Lan because he seemed terrified of her. He called her a bitch and shared that she's a sophomore just like them, a disciplinary head and totally merciless. He shared that she'd punish her own classmates without a second thought. And if someone dares to argue back, she'll beat the crap out of them. Tian was surprised she could just beat people up at the academy. Hao told him he'd understand it later. In the academy, strength was everything. They couldn't just hit someone, but it was a different story if it was under the guise of sparring. And for those student council jerks, beating someone up or sparring had no difference. Tian commented that it was insane. He asked if there was no justice. Hao shared the main problem was that Lan was a total monster. He just hit level 2, but she broke through level 3 the other day. Tian realized that she must have needed the Wind Spirit Pearl for the breakthrough. He didn't expect her to be such a big shot at the academy. And from the looks of it, Hao was traumatized. They arrived at the new student assessment office. Hao told Tian to get in, and he'll wait for him outside and take him to the dorms after. So Tian entered the building and approached someone politely for the admissions assessment. The man took his document and told him that he's way too late and admissions were closed. The freshmen have already been in class for over a month, but the man turned pale when he read on the document that Tian was at King Tier. He asked if he was Luo Tian, who awakened a King Tier ability. Tian simply replied yes. The man excitedly led him to take the test. As long as they could confirm that he has a King Tier ability, his enrollment would be processed immediately. Tian unleashed his power on a crystal, and the man had confirmed that he has a King Tier ability, and a remarkably powerful one. He explained that even if admissions was closed, they have 10 special admission slots every year, and they happen to have one left, so he'll process his enrollment at once. Suddenly, someone told them to stop. They all turned their heads to this man. The staff assisting Tian was surprised to see Director Yan. He asked what he's doing there. This green-haired man is the Star City Ability Academy admissions director, Yan Ke. He glared at Tian and asked if he's Luo Tian. Tian felt the intense pressure from him. He could tell that the man was at least a level 4 ability user. He answered him confidently. Director Yan liked how he had some nerves. Tian noticed that the director already knew who he was. The director glared at the staff and stated that if he hadn't come, he wouldn't know that his staff was doing a sloppy job. The man argued that he was just following the Academy's admission regulations. He was confident that the King-tier ability waives the exam had always been the rule. Director Yan agreed that he's correct, but they were all out of admission slots for the year. The staff argued that it couldn't be right because he just checked and there was still one admission slot left. He checked again, and he found it bizarre that all 10 slots had been filled. They had never used up all the special admission slots in the previous years. He wondered how they were all gone. Director Yan told him that it was enough, and since it was full, he instructed him to stop looking into it. The staff explained that Tian is an exceptional talent. He wished for one extra admission slot to be applied, but it just made the director angry and told him that the Academy pours countless resources into training every single ability user. The annual admission quotas were set and approved by the Wat God Temple, so they couldn't just add slots whenever they feel like it. Director Yan suggested to Tian to wait a year and apply during the normal admissions cycle. But Tian couldn't afford to waste that much time. He needed to get stronger and find his father. So, he expressed that he wants to enter the Academy as soon as possible. He added that he's willing to accept any test. Director Yan smirked. The staff sadly told him that there were no slots, so there was nothing they could do. He suggested that he comes back next year. Director Yan suddenly said that there could be a way. They asked what it was. He revealed that it was the Rift trial. Both staff immediately rejected the idea because it was too dangerous. Director Yan reminded them that the Academy created that path to give candidates a chance. All they could do was explain the situation clearly, and it was up to the candidate to decide if they wanted to take the risk. From their conversation, Tian could tell that this Rift trial was dangerous. He also noticed that the director really wants him to go. He knew who he was, and the special admission slots coincidentally happened to be full. He could sense something was not right, and the director was up to something. He asked the staff to tell him more about the Rift trial. Star City Ability Academy was originally built on top of a rift known as the Stardust Rift. Inside the Stardust Rift, there is a treasure called the Spirit Cleansing Spring. It could help an ability user improve their comprehension and talent, transforming them into a true genius. Unfortunately, the Rift's entrance only allows level 1 ability users to enter, and it's swarming with monsters. Some were even level 3. It was incredibly dangerous. This turned the Stardust Rift into a useless asset for the Academy. No truly talented student would go in there just to get killed. To avoid wasting resources, the Academy established a rule that any level 1 ability user under 25, regardless of their talent, could enter the Rift trial. If Tian manages to obtain the Spirit Cleansing Spring, he's immediately enrolled as a student. He advised Tian to think it through. He had the King-tier ability, so he doesn't need to take the risk. Tian thanked him for his concern, but he also wanted to try it. They went to the entrance where a crowd had gathered. They wondered if Tian could actually pass the Rift trial. Most of them think it was impossible since the Stardust Rift has been practically abandoned for a decade. They heard a ton of people died there back in the day. The staff, whom Tian called Teacher Song, told Tian that it wasn't too late to back out. Tian replied that he's confident, and then he headed inside. He made it through the other side, which was a desert. It was a completely different world from the Blackrock Rift. Just like what Director Yan wanted, he's inside the Stardust Rift. Now he's curious to know what he was really scheming. Tian was surprised with the incoming attack from behind. Fortunately, he was agile enough to evade it. He created distance with this level 1 monster, Desert Giant Scorpion. If he doesn't use the Blood Axe, the Desert Giant Scorpion would be way stronger than him. It attacked him again using its tail. He runs away to evade it. But it continuously attacked him, and all he could do was evade it. But the last attack almost got him. He crashed on the ground. He couldn't hold back, and if he's not careful, he'll die there. He was about to reach for the Blood Axe, but he stopped himself since he could sense some pair of invisible eyes watching him. Technology doesn't work in rifts, so there were no surveillance cameras. But abilities were mysterious, so he doesn't know what other ways of monitoring they have. The Blood Axe was too important. The academy controls the Stardust Rift, and that director Yan was definitely up to something, so Tian was careful. Since he can't win, he only had one choice. And that was to run. He ran as fast as he could. Meanwhile, Director Yan, Teacher Song, and the others watched through a screen. Teacher Song demanded that the trial be stopped, because if that keeps up, Tian could die. And it would be a waste for someone with a king-tier ability to die just like that. Director Yan was starting to doubt if Tian really had the Blood Axe, but he knew that awakening a king-tier ability in a backwater place like Black Rock City was just not possible. He told them to wait. Inside the rift, the desert giant scorpion dove on the sand. Tian was spooked when it suddenly appeared beneath him. He was hit with the tail, and that made him cough blood. When he settled on the ground, more desert giant scorpions appeared. He can't even handle one. With two, he knew he'd be doomed. A single hit nearly killed him. And that with the Blood Axe strengthening his body. Otherwise, the last hit would have been the end of him. He started to think about what he should do. He remembered that scorpions were afraid of water, and if he could find a water source, he'd be safe. But he's in an endless desert. But he realized that even if the desert giant scorpion fears water, it still can't survive without it. Since its lair was just there, he assumed that water was nearby. He noticed the direction of the flying birds, and that led him to think that it's where the water was. He decided to bet on this idea. He ran as fast as he could. A massive clawed strike slams down, blasting Tian backward in a flash of lightning. It hit his backpack, and he crashed on the ground. But he still got up and continued to run. His expression lit up when he saw the oasis. He was glad that his gamble paid off. He moved faster, and jumped into the water. Creating a splash around the area, he emerged from it, and raised a middle finger to those desert giant scorpions. He even taunted them to get in the water and try killing him. More desert giant scorpions emerged from the sand. He couldn't believe that there were so many of them. He was damn lucky to have made it there alive. To his surprise, those scorpions weren't afraid of water. They walked towards him. Of course, our boy swam as fast as he could. He had no idea what to do next. Even if he made it to the island in the lake, he still won't be safe. He started to wonder if he had no choice but to expose the Blood Axe. When he was close to the island, he noticed the barrier around it. He wondered what it was. But whatever it was, he still headed towards the island. He reached the shore and walked towards the forest. He saw how beautiful the island was. The moment he stepped on the island, the feeling of being secretly watched completely vanished. Teacher Song panicked when Tian entered the island. He reported that to Director Yan, who responded that he could see that for himself. The projection stone's power was failing on the lake island. They couldn't see what's happening. They were worried that Tian would run into danger there. But worrying won't help. They accepted that Tian was on his own now. The desert giant scorpion reached the island. At this point, Tian wasn't scared of them anymore. Now that there was no risk of being exposed, he could kill them all. He took out the Blood Axe. Tian stands his ground as the desert giant scorpion coils around him, claws and fangs closing in. He grins and swings his axe upward, lightning exploding as he welcomes the attack head-on. Red slash rips through the monster, cutting horns. He twists mid-air, lightning wrapping around him as he repositions for his next strike. Now, these level 2 monsters weren't so tough. He charged again and cut off their claws. He continuously slashed them. And when he was done, he was breathing heavily, but all of the desert giant scorpions were taken down. He noticed how the island was full of mysteries, and it made him hopeful that he'd find the spirit cleansing spring there. At the center of the island was a gigantic, magnificent tree. Tian had reached it. He could sense the spiritual energy from there. He rushed inside thinking that the spirit cleansing spring was there, but he suddenly stopped as he sensed danger. He couldn't fathom how the ground under the tree's shade was completely barren. Even without much sunlight, there should at least be some grass or moss growing. He noticed the birds flying near him. He jumped and caught one, and then he threw it in the barren area. The bird is engulfed in blazing light, its body burning as it struggles midair. He was overwhelmed at what he saw. He tested it again, and this time he plucked a plant and threw it there. The same thing happened. The plant was obliterated. Tian noticed how the soil didn't disappear, though. Putting it together, the bird and the weeds were both living creatures, but the soil wasn't. It led him to think that the golden light devours life. It made sense that nothing grows under the tree. Good thing he was cautious. Had he rushed in, he'd probably be dead already. But he wondered what he should do now. The spirit-cleansing spring that he needed the most was most likely inside the tree. He felt frustrated that he made it that far and not being able to go in. Tian had observed that the golden light appeared out of nowhere, but it didn't leave the area under the tree. It made him curious about what it could be. He also noticed that the flowers on the tree were a little weird. Those little golden flowers only bloom on the surface of the canopy. There were none on the branches and leaves underneath. At first he thought that those little golden flowers just really loved the sun, but he knew that even if they loved sunlight, it was impossible for there to be none in the foliage. The only information he had were golden flowers, golden light, devouring living things. And then it clicked. He realized that the golden light is the golden flowers, that they were not flowers at all but some kind of parasite living on the tree, and they treat the tree as their territory. He immediately made his way to the closest tree and climbed its branch. He took out his bow and arrow to test his idea. He enveloped the arrow with lightning. Then he released it towards the golden flowers. It was fast approaching. He almost hit it, but it moved. And the lightning spread, the golden flower got toasted and fell. Just as he expected, the golden flowers were living creatures, and they were incredibly fast, impossible to see with the naked eye. Good thing he charged his arrow with lightning. The creature dodged the arrow, but not the charge. But he knew he couldn't get cocky yet. He needed to confirm just how effective the lightning was. He released more arrows and electrocuted those creatures, which led him to the results that he wanted. The effective range of the lightning was about 5 centimeters. In the lightning triangle that he made, some of the golden flowers in the center were fine, meaning they were outside that range. In other words, if he could control his lightning and build a net with a mesh less than 5 centimeters apart to cover himself, he would be able to block the golden flowers' attacks, pass through their territory, and get into the hollow of the tree. He took a deep breath. Then he started creating the net. But just as he finished a small part, he was already reaching his limit. He couldn't make it any bigger. He only just awakened his ability, and his level was way too low. Even without transforming, his combat power was on par with level 1 peak. But that's because of his physical strength and the all-around buff from having a king tier ability. In terms of his actual internal ability source, he's just a level 1 beginner. He had no idea what to do. Until he had a eureka moment. Since the total volume wasn't enough, he thought of making the threads in the lightning net thinner to make it bigger. But making the threads thinner multiplies the difficulty. He kept doing it, but it wasn't enough. It needs to be bigger. He continued to try, even when it turned to night. It was already the next day when he successfully did it. The round lightning net around him truly deserved a name, so he called it the lightning shield. He approached the barren area and activated the lightning shield. And then he ran through that dangerous section. But the situation wasn't great. The golden flowers couldn't get through the net, but they were draining the lightning power like crazy. He couldn't hold it for long. He ran faster. He stumbled inside the hollow, and as soon as he made it inside, the lightning shield was deactivated. That was a close call. Some golden flowers were stuck on his hand, so he was able to take a closer look at those terrifying creatures. A few minutes later, he explored the tunnel. He noticed how deep it goes. He jumped in the pit and slid down to descend gracefully, but he didn't expect that there was a gap mid-air. Fortunately, he was able to safely land on his feet. The place had a dense spiritual energy. Just standing there for a second, he could feel his lightning power surging. He reached the spirit-cleansing spring, the source of all the spiritual energy. The spirit-cleansing spring was supposed to temper the body. He decided to give it a try. He dove in and meditated there. But he could tell something was off. The admissions teacher said that it could completely transform a person. He could feel his spiritual energy in the pool boosting his lightning power, but it's barely doing anything to his physical body, let alone transforming it. He wondered if it was because his body had already been tempered by the blood axe and the king tier ability. It led him to think that he had reached his limit, which means that the spirit cleansing spring doesn't work on him, and he went all through that hell for nothing. He inspected the water and saw that it was definitely full of spiritual energy, but he knew it was not enough. Even for someone else, it wouldn't be enough to cause a total transformation. He got intrigued on where the real spirit-cleansing spring was. He saw a spark from above. It came from the mouth of a fish statue hanging upside down from the ceiling. And that shiny thing moved. It jumped around the water, then it went back to the mouth of the fish statue. It made sense to Tien now. The white light was the real spirit-cleansing spring. He jumped towards it. When he checked inside, he saw a small fish swimming in the small pool. It tried to run, but he caught it with his hands, and then he went back down. He looked at the real spirit-cleansing spring on his hand. It was born from the magical ley lines and gained sentience. If he tried to take a treasure like that with him, he knew he wouldn't be able to keep it. So he ate it, and that caused him excruciating pain. He jumped towards the pool and submerged himself in it. He created ripples in the water, and later on he finished drinking everything. After all that, he could feel his body had become lighter. He guessed that the transformation had worked. He tested it by creating a small lighting in his hand, and he was pleased with the result. The lightning power inside him was several times stronger than before, and he had reached level 1 peak. In terms of raw combat power, even without the blood axe, he can go toe-to-toe with an ordinary level 2 beginner ability user. But more importantly, his control over lightning has massively improved. Now, he feels that it was an extension of his body. Imbuing the ability with spirituality, he called it true transformation. Alright, that's it for today's story. If you want the weekly chapter updates for this series, those will now be uploaded on my second channel, Manhwa Updater. So if you don't want to miss what happens next, make sure to check it out and join the update gang. Thanks for watching, stay cool, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.